All right, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. All right. Once again, it's Monday night, 6 o'clock, and this is the One West News Desk, hosted by Captain Saparia and Officer Mathum. Captain Saparia is off tonight, taking a rest. So I'm gonna hold it down for Cap till he comes back, usually in this One West News Desk, we get into a lot of news. We try to get into the international news, the national news, and some of the local news. We're going to get into a little bit of everything as much as we can in this little bit of short time that we got tonight. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things happening, and I don't understand why a lot of people, start pulling their hair out when the things happen. You understand? We are in slavery. A lot of people don't realize that we are in slavery. You understand? And the first people to feel any kind of pain is the slaves. You understand? So we shouldn't be surprised at a lot of things that have been happening to us. You understand? Not to mention, we already in World War III. You understand? We already standing on. We already standing on the doorsteps of World War III. Things have already begun. You understand? So what I want to do is Shalom, Lord Christ, sir. What I want to do is I want to get into this article. This first article is an article about the Baltimore City school programs being dropped. You understand? Come on, sir. This first article we getting into is the Baltimore City Public School tutoring program being funded. Thank you, sir. All right. Getting into it right now. Let's go. It says this first article, Baltimore City Public Schools announced Friday that due to cuts, pandemic relief funding provided by the federal government, the schools must cut programs, including tutoring and after-school programs at 44 sites. We got to understand that this is not something new that has happened to us. You understand? And if you're old enough to remember back in the late 80s into the early 90s, all of our schools had, what's the programs called when they, when you're not going to college, those vocational schools. Every school in Baltimore City in the 80s had vocational, things where you wasn't going to college. They had, we had printing, we had automotive, you understand, and different things that if you knew you wasn't going to college, you had something to do when you got out. You had trades. Right. All the high schools had trades. Every high school had trades. You understand? And right there, right at the end of the 80s into the early 90s, they began to take those trades out of school. And it wasn't all the schools in Maryland. It was only Baltimore City schools. You understand? This is not something new. These funding of these programs should be nothing new to us. These things happen to us all the time. This is nothing that hasn't happened. Every generation, these things happen, and we act so surprised. You understand? This is the reason why the Most High told us to separate from them. We should be taking care of ourselves. We should be teaching our own children. You understand? We worried about funding. We worried about handouts from a people that hate us. You understand? We worried about funding from a people that hate us. These people could care nothing about us. Look at the conditions that we live in. You understand? And we worried about handouts. Now, I'm not saying that, we shouldn't take, the things that, advantage of the, situations. But when things are taken from us, we got to make another way. You understand? We have to begin to depend on ourselves. As long as we depending on these other nations, especially our oppressor, we're going to continually be, disappointed. You understand? Because that's what happens. We get disappointed when something is taken from us. You understand? We should never be dependent on our oppressor. You understand? This is not how Black Wall Street, Seneca Village, and all these other black cities and towns got built. You understand? These black cities and towns got built because our oppressor did not want us around and wanted to be separate from us. Once they understood that they couldn't survive without us, that's when they destroyed our cities and towns and brought us back into the fold and made us dependent on them. You understand? You got something, sir?
No, go ahead.
Okay. The city schools said that they will not receive about $48 million in reimbursement for funds that were already spent or contractually committed, and now they must make cuts. You understand? We shouldn't be surprised. Like I said, our oppressor, if you look at our oppressor schools are never defunded.
Right.
You understand? You never see on TV where Harford County or, Owings Mills High or none of these schools are being defunded, because these are our oppressor schools. Our oppressor would never defund himself. You understand? When cuts come to us first. Just like when layoffs come in the federal government, we are the first ones to get laid off. Right. It's just like that old adage, what they say, we are the last hired and the first fired. Right. You understand? This is something that we should already be used to. You understand? This is something that we definitely should already be used to.
If I could, what you're saying is so heavy, brother. Because what black people in Baltimore have to understand, black people in Baltimore, you have to understand this, and black people everywhere, but we're talking to Baltimore right now, is that if it has to be given to you, it could be taken away.
Exactly.
You understand what I mean? That's why in the ISUPK, we strive to be self-reliant. You understand what I mean? Because if the government has to give to you, that's when you start to hear terms like, we're going to cut this and cut that. Like the priest just mentioned, they don't cut their own because it's theirs. You're receiving charity, and they could cut it at any time. Job said of the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. That's who should give and take away, not no city, not no government. Because the minute somebody could give and take away from you, they become your God. Right. I mean, that means they could do whatever they want with you. You're always at their mercy. When you're doing well, it's because they allow it. When you're not doing well, it's because they want it. You understand what I mean? Right. If anybody decides to come and sign a deal that's not in your favor and it's good for them, they'll take it at your expense. You understand what I mean? Right. I was reading an article, brother. It was so evil. The article was talking about how when they build private prisons, how many years into the future that they're projecting how many people will be in this prison. That means there are babies not born yet with a bed waiting for them when they come out.
30 years.
30 years into the future, you are projecting how many people you're going to have in. Yeah. Kids who are not even born yet are being projected to go into this prison. That's when you live under an oppressor.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? That man comes, builds a prison, a private prison, makes a deal with the city for your babies. Now, if you were self-sufficient, nobody could do that to you.
Right.
I mean, and how do we become self-sufficient? We just got to love each other, man. We just got to prefer each other over the other nations. Once you do that, you automatically become self-sufficient. Why? Because now you are building amongst yourself. I'm hearing people talking about some Trump is bringing back segregation, and they're afraid.
That's a good thing.
They're afraid. We want it.
Definitely.
That's what I mean? Thing. But it shows you their mindset, like they're so reliant that you and I, being brothers and caring for each other, it's impossible. Right. We need the oppressor to look over us. That's a slave mentality. Salaki, bro.
Exactly. And it's heavy that you brought that out, because I can also remember before coming into the truth, thinking in that same way. You understand? Segregation. What does segregation come back? I'd be upset. You understand what I'm saying? Until you come into this truth and understand what the Most High has for us. Right. Listen, what the scripture says, Zephaniah 2:1, gather yourself together, yea, gather together, O nation, not desire. One thing that I always say every week is that we are a nation of people that understand that we are not desired by these other nations.
Right.
So when they taking things from it, it's because they don't desire us. So let's desire ourselves. That's and let's come together, just like in what's that, Acts chapter 5, verse 31 to 35. It tells how was that Peter, brought the people together, and they brought everything they had together, and they helped each other as was needed.
Right.
That's what we have to do. We got to get into these scriptures and find out what this book tells us to do. This is our moral compass.
Right.
This is our understanding. And as long as we don't understand, we're going to keep running behind our oppressor looking for handouts, looking for crumbs falling from the table.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as we can see, it's not many. You understand?
Right.
Let's see. Let's get back into this article. Right. It says, we recognize that unexpected changes like these can cause disappointment. See, and that's the problem right there. When things change, we get disappointed instead of making a way. You understand? Instead of just like Officer Warrior said, preferring each other. When you prefer each other, you come together and we get strengthened. This is the reason what this is the whole thing behind Zephaniah 2:1. We have to prefer each other. We have to come together. We have to build. You understand? And if we don't build, we're going to always depend on our oppressor. And we're going to always come out being disappointed. You understand? Looking up, looking for crumbs. Let's see. It says, we recognize that unexpected changes like these can cause disappointment, frustration, and anger.
Let me tell you something, bro.
Go ahead, sir.
Read that part again. I want black people to understand something. When you read, this is a PR talking. This is public relations talking.
Right.
At my slave, I had to take a 3-hour empathy class on how to show empathy when delivering bad news.
Right.
This is what's happening here.
Yeah, definitely.
This person doesn't give a damn about you.
Yep.
But they're gonna speak in a way as if they understand.
Sympathizing.
They sympathize. They have empathy. They care about you. Read again.
It says, we recognize that unexpected changes like these can cause disappointment.
Poor black people, we recognize how hard it's gonna be for you. We recognize that these things could be very disappointing because you had your hope up. You had your hope up.
Right.
So we recognize it could be really disappointed. Go ahead.
Frustration.
You're gonna feel frustrated based on what we're about to do to you. You know what I mean, think about a lion with a deer,
right?
And he tells him, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to you,
right?
Before he eats him. That's what's happening here. I mean, he's showing like they're trying to show you that they could empathize with your pain. I mean, so that they could do what they're about to do to you. It's a very evil thing. When you read this, you gotta really read the spirit of who's speaking. You gotta think like Satan is talking right now.
Salakia.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, bro.
It's amazing that you just said that, right? With the lion and the deer. Think about it, right? When that lion got that deer, now that lion saying, look, it's either gonna be me or you.
Right.
And it can't be me.
Right.
And this is how our oppressor thinks. It's either if it's between us, it's gotta be you.
Right.
You understand?
Now, give that lion a PR representative.
Right. Listen.
That PR representative will put the music in the background. Right. This lion needs to feed his cubs.
Right. Yeah.
This lion is not eating in this. And you say, okay, the lion has to survive.
Yeah.
Because it's being presented as it needs help. Right. Now, flip it around and put some hunting music on. Right. Dun, 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 dun. Now you're going to feel sorry for the deer.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. So the PR's job is to make you not feel sorry for the deer, but to understand the lion and what it has to do.
Right.
That's what the PR does. Yeah. I took 3 hours of even the way I said it, you have to say it with more empathy. Making me role play. How to not give not to give a damn.
Right.
But deliver it like I do. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, frustration.
And frustration and anger.
You're going to be angry, black people in Baltimore, based on what I'm about to do to you. And I understand. Go ahead.
And we share in your concern.
We share in your concern with them.
That's heavy, right?
We share in your concern. They don't share in any of the losses, though.
No.
They don't share in any pain, but we share in your concern.
Right.
They ain't say we're going to share in your poverty.
No.
They ain't saying we're going to share in your tears. They didn't say we're going to share in your destruction in Baltimore. No, we're not going to share in that. But we share your concern. We understand why you're concerned.
Right.
Go ahead.
About the uncertainty this creates.
Oh, good night, bro.
That's heavy.
About the uncertainty, meaning that you don't know what's going to happen to you. That's what happens when you rely on the oppressor.
Yeah.
He gives you sad stories like this, sad statements like this. This was written by a PR representative, a public relations representative, to make him look innocent as if he didn't mean to do it. PR representatives get paid a lot of money to change the picture so that you can look at yourself one day, black man, and say, I'm the problem, not him.
Right.
You're gonna look at your brother and say, "You're my enemy," not him. Clearly, he has empathy.
Right.
Your brother doesn't have a PR. He can't afford a PR representative, so that if he accidentally steps on your foot, that PR representative can say, "Hey, he just stumbled." He don't have that.
Right.
These bastards have a PR representative, so that when they get ready to take out millions on their behalf and leave you poor, they could justify it in your own eyes.
Right.
Go ahead.
Please know that we will keep you informed as we work together.
Come on,
You work to listen. We're going to work with you. It's going to take both of us. It takes all of us. This is one big melting pot. We got to work together.
But we're not sharing any of the pain.
None of the pain. Now I know how you feel. But we got to work together.
This is the part, but when they read this, if it was in person,
Yeah.
they would coach you to put your hand on the person's shoulder.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
say, "We're with you."
It's a whole.
And then you go to your ghetto.
Yeah.
And I go to my mention.
But we'll send you a letter in the mail.
Right.
And we'll let you know what's happening.
You'll be in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
Let us pray. You know.
Go ahead.
It says, informed as we work together to serve our students with dedication and care.
There it is.
They used the whole thing. Well, they
is.
put it together.
There it is. The person who's saying this is not his words even. This is a PR representative who put this together and said, make sure you say just like this.
Listen to this end part though, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the nail in the coffin right here. It says, thank you for your continued partnership and resilience. Listen, they building you up while they tearing you down. Your resilience, making you feel good about the pain that they about to put you through.
How heavy that is.
And listen, this is just one single small paragraph, five lines.
But read that for me again.
The end part of the whole thing.
The end part.
The end part. It says, thank you for your continued partnership and resilience.
Key word in there. Continued. You ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. We're going to keep putting you through
We're going to violate you. Thank you for your continued what? Partnership, because where else you going to go? You need us.
Right.
Again, once you need them, you're at their disposal. Thank you for your continued partnership, meaning you're going to continue wait for us, even though the lines before said you are uncertain of your future.
Right.
But thank you for if you're uncertain, you should be able to get up and leave.
Right.
Where are you going to go?
We don't know what we're going to do.
Thank you for your continued partnership and resilience, meaning that we're going to abuse you and you're going to endure it.
We're together, but you're on the back and we're on the front.
Right.
We'll bring you through this and you'll be resilient.
Let me tell you who else was together. The slaves and the slave master on the slave ship.
Yeah.
They were together. And the slaves had to endure. You know what I mean? That's who was together.
This is a partnership.
This is a partnership. Mm-hmm. And we're going to cross that river together with my whip on your back.
Listen, we are truly in this together.
Good night. That's a slap in the face.
Wow.
We're truly in this together. How? How are we in this together?
We can't be in this together. We can't be in this together.
You know, I had a conversation one time with a sister, right? And I was trying to help her see something. I don't think she got my point. I asked her a simple question. I said, could we be in the same place?
Right.
In the same room, and one of us be in heaven, the other one in hell?
Mm-hmm.
She said, impossible. This is it right there.
She don't understand the condition.
She don't understand condition.
But see, America has our minds so twisted.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that we believe that we are all in the same condition, and you don't believe that somebody sitting right next to you could be in a whole different condition than you.
And that's what the Christian church does for people. They don't understand. In their mind, they think either we're all in heaven or we're all in hell.
Yes, right.
In their mind, that billionaire oppressor, that billionaire oppressor, he needs to be saved.
Right.
Jesus needs to save him.
Yeah. And think about this.
Trump needs to be saved.
It's a lot, yes, sir. If I may, think about this condition that Elon Musk is in, right? He has never known hell.
Right.
His father was stealing diamonds and jewels from the mines in Africa. He was born a billionaire.
But he needs to be saved.
He needs to be saved from what? From what? To be saved, you have to be saved from something. You have to be saved from a condition. Think about this. He's creating the condition that we're in now. While he's in his heaven, he's creating a deeper hell for us.
Right.
It's incredible.
Right.
It's incredible.
You know what I mean? They don't understand that the two could exist in one place and be in completely different conditions.
And that was heavy right there.
You know
That's heavy. I never really thought about it like that. Yeah.
Just parts of Baltimore you pass by. This is not the Baltimore you know.
Right. Right.
There's parts of Baltimore you pass by and the sun is out, people are jogging. And when I first moved to Baltimore, I passed it. I said, "This is not the Wire. This is not where the Wire was shot.
Right.
I'm looking for the Wire."
Yeah.
I'm seeing, flowers. I'm seeing all types. I'm like, this looks safe. This is not the. And then I ran into the Wire.
Yeah.
A few blocks down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the same zip code, there's heaven and hell.
McCullough Homes. Yeah. And then right on the other side is where they built all those new houses.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christians, get that out of your mind. And I'm gonna tell you this, Christians. I'm gonna tell you this. The kingdom is going to be hell for you, you heathens, but it's going to be straight up paradise in heaven for the righteous.
How about that?
You understand what I mean? Because on one side, the gates of heaven will not shut, for the heathen will bring in their riches 24/7.
Right.
One is in heaven, one is in hell. Let that sit on your chest. Salaki Mathama. That's what it is. It pissed me off.
That's crazy right there. That was heavy then. That was the first article, That was the first article. I'm gonna go to another one. We got another one in here. Let's go to how about this? What you think about that one?
We could do it.
Defrauded?
Yeah, we could do it.
But
Whichever
I got the bigger national one.
Whichever one you want to do.
Let's go. Let's do the net.
Wow.
Let's go to the. I want to go to this one. Where's that one? Trump threatens the tariffs. Man, I hate this. Oh no, let's do this one. Netanyahu took a U-turn. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is it right here. Netanyahu's flight to U.S. takes a different route to evade ICC arrest warrant report.
Good night. Go ahead.
Now, think about this right now. Before we get into it, think about just 6 months ago what they said about the ICC. And he was taking his regular route, going all through Europe and everything. No arrests, no fear of anything. Now he taking a route, other than the route that he take to avoid the ICC, the International Court of what's that? International Criminal Court, right? International Criminal Court. He avoiding them now, where at first in the last 6 months he wasn't avoiding them. What has changed? Has Trump's mind changed against them? Are they changing against each other? Let's read this article and find out what's going on. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu aircraft from Hungary to the U.S. flew an extra 400 kilometers from the normal route to avoid the airspace of several countries that could enforce an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court, ICC, according to Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Think about this, right? It was no fear 6-7 months ago. He took the same route, and they were talking about that. And I remember when they were talking about it a few months ago, when they was talking about the ICC put the warrant out, but it didn't matter to him. He was still going to the countries and going through the countries and stopping over in countries that could arrest him.
Right.
You understand? And the thing about our oppressor is our oppressor makes laws that he holds us to, but he never holds himself to his own laws. But now it has to be some kind of mix up, or not mix up, but a internal turmoil with our oppressor, because now he's fearing.
Hold on, are you telling me that Netanyahu is a fugitive right now?
He's a fugitive.
Are you telling me he is escaped? Let me tell you, black people, something. You better stop judging poor people in the ghetto.
Right.
I mean, he got a warrant out for his arrest. he must be a criminal. Netanyahu has a warrant out for his arrest where he got to avoid certain zones when he travels. I mean, is he a thug and a criminal? You know what I mean? Because someone call him a hero.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, with all his power, he is a fugitive.
A fugitive.
Go ahead.
But that's what he's supposed to be.
Right.
He should be a fugitive. Now, we're not saying that we taking the side of the Palestinians.
Not at all.
But what he's doing, he should have been arrested. He should have been avoiding those countries that he normally go through, even when they first put the warrant out. You understand? Now let's read the rest of this. It says the ICC issued.
One more thing with them. Why you said it? What you just said is so heavy. I mean, because he should have been arrested. I'm gonna tell you another thing. All of the oppressors are fugitives.
Yes,
all of them. I mean, they're holding their nose up high, as if when Christ comes back, they're not gonna be avoiding us. That's why the Lord God give us power to go and hunt them in the caves.
Exactly.
Because they are going to be hiding in them caves.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? That's why the Lord got to send us out to get them, because they're not going to come and surrender. They're going to be avoiding just like he's avoiding.
Right. Because
they know judgment is coming. So don't think he's a fugitive alone and you're just righteous. No, you're a fugitive with him. You oppressors. Go ahead, Salaki.
The ICC issued an arrest warrant against Netanyahu and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant, last November. Remember that? See that? Last November, months ago, for allegations of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. According to the report from Harrods, Israel believed that Ireland, Iceland, and the Netherlands could have acted to enforce the warrant, meaning they could have arrested him, but they didn't. Now he's avoiding those countries because something had to happen, right? Netanyahu, when Netanyahu arrived in Washington for a meeting with, that's the end of that. That was the end of that.
So basically, he was avoiding them just in case, because he doesn't know where they stand in this whole thing. He knows that he has a warrant out for him, and he's not trying to risk it.
Right.
He's literally on. He's in the U.S. right now to come and meet Donald Trump, another fugitive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So he came to meet them because another thing I believe with them, because they may know what he's planning to do with Donald Trump.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they might try to stop him from doing it too.
Right.
That's why he had to go out the way to make sure he doesn't run into them, lest they detain him.
Yeah. And we know what it's like to be detained. You understand? We know we seen brothers, and then we see brothers get arrested, and 30 or 40 years later, then they get exonerated after their lives have been destroyed.
Right.
We see that over and over and over again. I was just telling my rib, what was that, a couple of weeks ago, that I've never seen an oppressor get exonerated after 30 or 40 years of his life being destroyed. But we constantly see that with our people. Right. We constantly see our people being arrested and then being totally brutalized. And then, it was a mistake. It was a mistaken identity, or it was, I feared for my life or something like that. We never see that with the oppressor. You understand? But their time is coming. There's going to come a time where, just like Officer Williams said, we're going to be able to go out there and we're going to be arresting them. We're going to be tracking them down, just like they track us down.
We're going to bring them to justice.
We're going to bring them to justice. Exactly. But we're going to bring them to righteous justice.
That's right.
Righteous justice. You understand? Their justice has never been justice. You understand? There's unrighteous justice, and then there's righteous justice, and we're bringing them to righteous justice. You understand? Let's see. Donald Trump. Here we go. Donald Trump. You seen that? Donald Trump threatens the 50% tariffs on top of the China tariffs. Right. Man, listen, the thing about, let's understand what a tariff is. A tariff is really a tax. And countries that get those tariffs put on them, all right, you ever play the video game, right? And if you make a mistake and shoot somebody on your own team, it repacks back and hits you, and it affects you. Right. Those tariffs don't affect the country that they're being put on, but actually affects the country that's giving them out. Right. Because those tariffs come back and they're attacks on us. Right. Now, understand something. Who's being taxed the most? Again, we're the ones feeling the effect. You understand? these tariffs and taxes start from the bottom up. Everything hits us first and then hits everybody else.
Right.
We're the ones being affected. We're the ones losing our homes. We're the ones losing our businesses. We're the ones with the small businesses going out of businesses because of the tariffs and everything that's happening. Think about this too, right? This started back in the Biden era. The Biden era, they still owe those black farmers $500 million from that COVID relief that started actually in the Donald Trump era.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So we're the ones steadily losing when the tariff wars happen, because even though white businesses are being, did I say that wrong? Should I say oppressors' businesses?
I would say oppressors.
Oppressors,
Just in case. We'll get shut down.
Yeah. I would say the oppressors' businesses, right? But the oppressor, remember this, the oppressor, just like we was talking about the school programs, they don't shut down their own programs. They make sure their programs continue. Just like their businesses, when those tariffs and all those taxes begin to hit, they make sure their businesses continue. Our businesses are the ones that shut down and are the ones that fade out and fade off into the sunset. You understand? We got to understand and we got to look at what our oppressor is doing. This is the reason why we say segregation is good for us. We would rather have separation. Separation is better because we're choosing to move away. A lot of times segregation is them putting you where they want you at. Right. That's where redlining and all that other stuff comes in to effect. Separation is better, but we'll take segregation if we don't have to be around our oppressor. Now, the thing is that I don't want to go off into to the sunset, right? But we should be running our own neighborhoods. Right. You understand? We should be supporting our own people. When we support our own, that's just like in Black Wall Street. Remember, our oppressor was going through that Great Depression at that time. This country was falling apart from the inside out, but we were thriving at that time. We were thriving because we had to depend on us. And that's what we need to come back to. We need to come back to us depending on us. That's how a nation is built. Our oppressor, his mind is like a child. You understand? He'll poison his own water to affect people that he doesn't like. He poisons the food already. We know that. And he has to eat the same food. Right. You understand? We got to separate ourselves. We have to come together. Back to Zephaniah 2 and 1 all over again. That's right. You understand? You got something, sir? No, you good. Okay, let's read this. Donald Trump has threatened China with an additional tariff of 50% on goods imported into the U.S. if it does not withdraw a countermeasure as global markets tumble for the third day. The market is falling apart. Listen, this is a part of World War III right here. This is an economic war. Right. You understand? You have that physical war where you have the bombs and everything dropping. You have that Cold War where you have people trying to, you understand, make plans to see what they're going to do. You have the Cold War for people trying to figure other people out, and you have an economic war. This right here is the economic side of the war. Right. You understand? America truly believes that it's the America after World War II, when America had dominance over the globe. Right. And rightfully so, because America, think about this, sir. I don't know if you remember, right? America came into World War II late. When America came into World War II, remember World War II, when America was fighting in the beginning in World War II, they were only fighting Japan. Right. All of the other nations were fighting everybody. You understand? So everybody was getting crushed. America only had to fight Japan, and then they only came into what was that? They call it D-Day, right? And when they stormed Normandy, that was the only time America fought alongside of all the other nations. Right. Everybody else, countries got bombed and destroyed. That's what placed America on top, because America came in late and everybody else was beaten and battered. You understand? And that's what put America on top. Well, America has in her mind that she's still that power after World War II. Right. You understand? Not understanding that the Most High is slowly but surely tearing her down. Right. You understand?
What you got in effect right that's going on right now, in other words, is a Cold War. That's exactly what's happening right now.
Right.
And it's just like they ain't no bombs flying yet. You understand what I mean? But the aggression is definitely there because the attempt is to starve one another. These nations, like when you see they're about to put 50% tariff on China, they're trying to starve them.
Right.
You understand what I mean? And China is trying to put tariffs on America. You understand what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you this: China, most of their trade comes. Let me put it into this perspective.
Go ahead.
You know what this war is about? Who's gonna sell their garbage to us?
Right.
We're the only ones who buy that garbage from China.
Right.
You understand what I mean? China not. What are the East Indians buying from China?
Nothing.
What are the Japanese buying from China? What are the Africans buying from China? Nothing. We the ones who all this are made in China, made in China, made in China. We're the consumers on the earth.
Right.
You understand what I mean? China needs to sell their garbage to us.
Right.
Right? Trump is saying, if you want to sell to my slaves, I'm gonna raise the tariffs.
Right.
Because I got the slaves. I possess the slaves. If you want to sell to them, you're gonna have to pay me.
Right.
And China's not going for it. You understand me? I pray for the day, man. Put tariffs on the Chinese restaurants in the hood too.
Right.
Raise their taxes. Run them up out of the hood, man. We don't need them. You understand what I mean? We don't need the Chinese. We got sisters who could cook. You understand what I mean? We don't like Bethune said, we don't give a damn about either side. Right. I mean, whatever the Lord decides, because what it looks like right there with them, both sides have straight, serious demons on them.
Right.
That's leading them into World War III. They don't even realize it.
Listen, that's what the Most High does, right? He Most High hardens that heart. And he did the same thing to Pharaoh. Is the same thing he's doing to America.
Right.
He did that to Egypt, and he's doing that to America. He's doing it to the other countries. This is the reason why they're about to go at each other's throat. But just like Officer Warrior said, it's a Cold War right now. Absolutely. It's an economic war right now. Just like you said, they're trying to starve each other out. And that's the whole point. Once you starve a nation out, then you can go in and conquer them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. That's the same thing that happened to Israel, right?
Right.
That's the same thing that happened to Israel in the they got destroyed by Rome, right? The Roman Empire.
It happened to Israel so many times.
Yeah.
It happened to Israel so many times. Because they've been under siege so many times.
Right.
You remember even the Babylonians, the Assyrians did to them.
Right. That was
and the Babylonians. Right? Yeah, both of them did to them.
Right.
Right. So it's just a war tactic. Who could starve who out? And the way they do it, when they get ready to starve each other out, the rich stock up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, when the rich stock up and they feel, okay, we could go this long, while this place is in famine.
Right.
Who starves? Us.
Right.
You understand what I mean? So the only people with a gun to their heads right now is us. Because in their minds, they're going to starve us.
Right.
We're going to be the ones suffering. We don't, like Bethune said, we're going to lose our houses. We're going to lose our families. We're going to lose our jobs while they sit there and have the PR person write out a note. We understand your concern. We are deeply sorry for your poverty.
Right.
We'll get through this together.
Exactly.
Wait for the PR note to come to your emails. I mean, very shortly.
Right after I finish my dinner, we're going to talk.
Right.
That's how they do. They don't listen. America could care less about us. America needs us to work. America needs us to keep America going. You understand? They could care less about what happens to us. This is just nothing but a big slave mill.
Right.
And it's time for us to wake up and understand that how many times are we going? We got to come together, man.
That's it. But and the other part too, my thumb is you keep saying it, they're not hearing it.
Right.
But the Lord's gonna make them force them to come together.
Yeah.
This is also when you realize, when you get that letter from the government saying we are deeply sorry for your poverty, we understand your concerns, and we'll get through this together, and the children are starving, you're gonna look from them brothers that was in that corner.
Right.
You're gonna be forced to come together and say, okay, what can we do as a people now? Because we're shut out.
Right.
I mean, we're shut out. We got no support from the oppressor. Let's come together now. The Lord's gonna force you to come together.
Right.
I mean, it's better that you do it with pride and come and join your brothers now and be part of the solution versus you showing up as another problem for us to solve
Right.
when you're forced to come in here. Suck.
That's heavy. That was great. Listen, man, America is a wicked nation, man.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? America has that veil pulled over most of our eyes. You understand?
Right.
And what we come in here to do is we come in to pull that veil back and let you see the true beast of America.
Mm-hmm.
It's the true, you understand, hypocrisy. You understand? Look at what's going on. They talk about, this is the land of the free, home of the brave, and all of that type of stuff like that. The land of equality, but there's nothing equal about America.
Mm-mm.
Nothing. Not even in the way that she obtained America. You understand? Not even the way she obtained her slaves. You understand? That's what we have to realize. You understand? We think we in this country and we all have the same equal chances. But every time you turn around, look at the way look how the equality is unbalanced. They never lose any funding for their schools.
Right.
Listen, it's to the point where we don't even have heat in the wintertime. We don't even have air conditioning in the summertime. They putting 3 and 4 schools in one school,
right,
shutting our schools down. I've never heard of county schools. I've never heard of Harford County schools shutting down anything. In these white areas, I've never. Columbia, never heard of it. You understand?
I'll put it to you like this, but when there's plenty of food in the house,
right,
the dog gets a lot of crumbs.
Right.
I mean, the dog will eat a lot of food off that table when there's plenty of food.
Right.
When you can eat yourself till you're drunk and pass out, and that drumstick fall out your hand,
right,
the dog is gonna eat that. When the food is scarce, the dog might become the food.
Right. Yeah.
You understand? That's what's happening in America.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we are getting crumbs, but when times get rough, we become the prey.
Yep.
I mean, don't think getting crumbs means you're part of the family. I mean, because when it's time for the family to feed itself and there's no food around, it's going to look at you as food.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen in America. That's why Officer Matham keeps saying, gather yourselves together. Let's gather ourselves together, Baltimore.
And if you think about it, Salaki, sorry if I may.
Go ahead.
You think about it, we've already been a prey to the people.
Come on, man.
I mean, look at all these nations in our neighborhood. Listen, a lot of us haven't lived in a time where, and I always say this, a lot of us haven't lived in a time where all of the corner stores were owned by Black people. Black people lived upstairs and had the store right downstairs. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the same corner stores that the Asians own right now were owned by Black people. I lived in a time where it was no Asians in your neighborhood.
Right.
Now imagine now how it looks to me now. And what I really think about is how the younger generation looks at it and can't imagine all of those stores being owned by Black people.
Right.
I remember when you could go into a store and you could get credit if you lived in the neighborhood. And the people that gave you the credit, you didn't have to pay interest on it. You just had to pay what you needed.
Right.
You understand? And that's in the Bible. And think about it, right? We were living like that, and they wasn't even reading that out of the Bible. That's just what we did for each other living in the neighborhood. Now, I'm not saying it was a perfect society, but it was a perfect society at that time.
Right. It was better than what we got now.
It was better than what we got now.
Right.
You understand? Salaki, sorry if I may.
Go ahead.
We can ready shut this down and we're gonna reset it up so we can do the class.
Gotcha.
So with that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We're bringing this truth since 1969. The truth is the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives are true biblical Jews of the Bible. Our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And this is 1 West News Desk under Captain Saparia, hosted by Officer Awarium and Officer Matham. With that, shalom, Israel.
Shalom.